Anime. These days, anime have seemed to seep its way through every part of pop culture around the world, especially in the US. The global anime market is a billion-dollar industry valued at about $24.8 billion in 2021. But this wasn't always the case. There was once a time where anime was reserved for the men of culture. It was a long, hard, and even controversial journey for anime to reach where it is now. But it was a necessary journey for anime to thrive in the minds of this new generation. Anime, also known as Japanese animation, has its roots all the way back to 1917 Japan, with the first ever known Japanese animation called Takobo's New Picture Book, Failure of a Great Plan by Shimokawa Oten. The film was made purely out of chalk, where they would draw the scene, take a picture of it, erase it, and then draw it the next frame. It was a lot of tedious work, like many things back in the old days, which was why the length of the film was usually around 5 minutes. Shimokawa Oten is considered one of the fathers of anime. The other two fathers of anime were Kochi and Kitayama. My guy Kitayama actually founded the first ever anime studio called Kitayama Aija Sasekujo. Fuck that. And the reason why you probably haven't heard of this anime studio is probably due to the fact that their entire building was destroyed by an earthquake, which is also something Japan is very famous for. But yeah, due to this and the difficulty to make money on this new field, many anime studios in the 20s didn't survive that long. But as we all know, this wasn't the end for anime. Not even close. In the late 1930s, the anime industry in Japan started to pick up steam again, but it was still quite expensive to create these animations. So the anime studios had to look for darker means of cash flow. During World War II, the Japanese government were looking for ways to spread their message and beliefs to the public, also known as propaganda, which was perfect for animators and studios at the time to get a little extra cash in their pockets to sustain their company and produce more of their films, which resulted in this film in 1945. Yeah, definitely a little bit more progress since the chalk era. But it was really after World War II that the anime industry would really truly take off, bro, with one of the most well-known Japanese anime studios being created in January 23rd, 1948, Toei Animation. You know, the guys behind the long stretchy guy and the blonde guy that yells a lot. They were responsible for some of the most crucial animated films of all time, like Hakujaiden, and slowly but surely anime started to grow and expand its presence around the world. For the next couple decades, as technology grew, anime grew as well, with inventions like TVs and VHS making anime more easily accessible more than ever. Sure, there were some ups and downs during these years, like the economic crash of 1991 in Japan negatively affecting many anime studios and projects to shut down. But like many main protagonists during a training arc, they would endure and push on. And the anime industry would come out of these harsh times stronger than ever. With anime being pumped out left and right, and new anime studios being created to help produce the hundreds of stories that would inspire and emotionally damage kids for years to come. Anime studios. Without them, our favorite animations would have never existed. An anime studio, like any Hollywood film studio, is made up of many parts, from the producer and director to the scriptwriter and of course, the animators. There are about 3 phases to produce an anime: the pre-production, production, and post-production. One of the first things you want to do is figure out what you want to make the anime on, which in Japan are usually adaptations of popular novels and manga. The idea is usually pushed by the investors, also known as the production committee, which does not always involve the individual anime studios. First thing is to establish that not all anime studios would have a type of ownership over the anime, even if they made it. In some cases, anime studios are just hired by third-party production companies and investors to make the anime, with an agreed-upon price to do so. And in this situation, the investors in the production committee would own the rights to the anime. So whether hired or self-started, the first step is the post-production stage, which is when they start to hire staff and look for sponsors and advertising or merchandising opportunities. But most importantly, this is when they come in contact with TV stations and broadcasters to pay for the time slots to be able to even showcase the anime, which can usually take up almost half the budget. These days, with streaming services taking over entertainment, anime studios have been putting a lot of their animes on platforms like Crunchyroll or Netflix, which presents another source of revenue for their business. The second stage is the production stage. The production stage is where the bulk of the work for creating an anime goes, like script writing, storyboarding, layouts, and animating. Then later in post-production is where the final touches of the anime starts to be put together, from voice recordings to sounds and edits. From a study in 2011, the average 30-minute anime episode could cost around $145,000. And to adjust with inflation, that's about $184,444 today. All in all, dude, creating anime is a lot of work. But without it, we wouldn't have animations such as this. Because you see, with the world transitioning into CGI 3D focused animations like Pixar, Japanese animes are one of the last few places that hand-drawn 2D art still exists. But to create them can take a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And with the amount of money they're making, it's a lot more tears. For example, one of the best known monthly starting salaries for animators and anime studios recently is from Mappa at a whopping 230,543 yen. Yeah, that's about $2,102 a month, which is about $25,224 a year. But actually these days the exchange rate between the USD and the Japanese yen has decreased significantly. So if we do the math, 230,543 Japanese yen equates to about $1,579, much less than $2,102 just a year ago. To put this number in perspective, if you worked at McDonald's at minimum wage, working 40 hours a week for a whole year, I would earn more money than that at $26,000 a year. Also keep in mind that $2,102 is at the higher end of the wage spectrum for Japanese animators. Animators are crucial to the production of all animes we love. But recently there has been a lot of controversial things that came to light on the work conditions of many animators in these studios. Because most anime projects and series have to work on a strict release schedule, anime studio staff, especially the animators, must put in a lot of work hours and often overtime to complete everything on time. This combined with Japan's overworking culture and low pay makes not really the best work environment in the world. Like with Mappa Studio, who has taken up a lot of anime projects recently. Obviously this isn't the case for all anime studios out there, but still remains a large problem in the anime industry. And like many for-profit companies, they must produce various income streams to pay their hardworking staff, fund more animation projects, and feed their investors. There are many ways that studios and investors could profit off of anime in general. Here's a little pie chart breakdown in 2021, with the most significant part of the income stream being merchandising. Which is honestly not surprising since anime piracy has become such a common practice whether you like it or not. Which does take money away from the anime business. But free anime does provide one thing, and that's accessibility and popularity. And boys, let's be honest, the piracy issue is such a big problem that anime would probably have to spend so much more money to just completely stop it than just honestly deal with it and then use it to their advantage. Which also at the same time brings more money into the anime business in different ways, like buying merchandise. Fun fact, the highest grossing anime franchise out there is Pokemon, at about $110 billion, which let's just say also sells a lot of products. So really, if you think about it, the true business behind anime is merchandising, and a little bit of advertising. Promoting other products and services through the popularity of their stories and entertainment, which is something media itself has done since the beginning. The anime industry is forecasted to grow double its current size in 2030. And with how COVID forced people to stay inside that one time in 2020, it helped push many people into the world of anime even faster. The future of anime remains quite bright. And hopefully later we can find ways to mitigate the amount of work animators have to go through with future technologies. So we and our future generations can continue to experience beautifully drawn stories for years to come.